All right, everybody, what's up? Will here from Flow Candy. I got another banger for you today. This is going to be on 80 plus email angles. Sometimes they're called email hooks, email themes. So these are like styles of emails that you can implement in your email programs. You can use them in campaigns where we use them a lot. You can also put them in your flows. And from my experience, if you can find like 5 or 10 of these and you just routinely come back to them, you can oftentimes build a very comprehensive and literally top of your category email marketing program and department. And some of these are these angles are commonly known, like a promotional angle. Like this is the one you probably see the most. Like it's Black Friday or buy one get one free. Like anything with a promo. Product launch, you see this a lot. Like we came out with this new product, this new collection. FAQ, social proof, you see these a lot. These are very well known. A lot of people talk about them. But there's like 70 other ones that you can use that I've sort of observed over the past couple of years working with clients or studying their competitors. And I'm going to walk you through each one of them today, and as well as give you some tips on which niche they work best in or which vertical they work best in. A lot of times you can use them in just about any vertical, but I'm going to give you some tips on which ones I've seen work the best, and also some segmentation. Segmentation can be very subjective depending upon your goals, but I'll also sort of put in some recommended segmentation for you. I'm not going to get like super granular with the segmentation. I'm just going to say engage prospects, customers, but I'll let you guys do that. But this just will give you some inspiration. All right. So, and also on top of that, I have a free bonus for you guys. So there's a playbook I'm giving away as well on campaign angles. These are like the 10 to 15 campaign angles that we frequently work with. So it's a little bit more in-depth training on how to do a promotional campaign or a content campaign or a back in stock campaign. These are more well-known ones, but there's a bunch of others that I'm going to dive into here. All right, so let's jump in. Just so you know that the swipe file is here. You can see all of this. You can click on the swipe file. You can click on this companion sheet that I'm going through. And in the companion sheet, if you just click on the link, it'll take you right to the example. So, you click on that link, it takes you right to the back in stock example that I'm going to talk about. All right, so let's dive into this. So I'm just going to zoom in here and just share my general thoughts on it. All 80 plus of these. Okay, April Fools. I think this is one that has a lower impact on revenue. You don't need to do this. A lot of times it's a fun way to connect with the audience or your market. You can send this to the whole list. Here's an example of what Bubble did. As seen in, this is one I got from Khloe Kardashian's new brand, Cloud Popcorn. So this is like a variation of a social proof campaign. Highly recommend this one. Can have somewhat of an impact on revenue. You could send this to everybody, but also you could send this to prospects, people who have never bought from you before. But you can see this is sort of a social proof email. New country. This is one from David, the new protein bar that's become very successful. And you could swap in like new city, new retail store. So like whenever you launch a new country, especially if you're a really scaling fast omni-channel brand here that's rolling out in multiple countries, you might be using Klaviyo Portfolio, or certainly some APAC clients we've worked with, clients we've worked with in Australia and stuff like that. They have to have more international storefronts. This is a great email to send or have in a flow. Back in stock. So this is a back in stock campaign. I recommend this again. Like you could send this to a certain segment of people that have opted in for a product to be back in stock. Sometimes there's a back in stock flow that dynamically sends it. This one looks like it's probably more crafted around this heartthrob set that's probably was a very successful product. So whenever you have a product go out of stock and when it's back in stock, you can send campaigns. Before and after, this works really, really good in beauty. You'll see a lot of beauty brands send this. I also see a lot of food, beverage, health, whatever you want to call it. that vertical where it's like you can show real results from your body. This works, but I've seen it most effectively deployed in skincare niches or beauty niches, makeup as well, where you can literally show a before and after. So this is great email to send to put in flows, great email to send to prospects that are on the fence about a product. Great, even just like thing that you can add into certain campaigns. It doesn't even have to be centered around a campaign. Behind the scenes, this is great. You can do a lot of different things with this. You can work in any niche. You can send it to any type of segment. But if your products have a lot of a story behind them, there's a story behind your brand. Certainly products that have more craftsmanship, this works well with too. We've certainly deployed these a couple times for clients. Best sellers this month. You can use this in any niche. You can send it to anybody. I see it mostly deployed in Gen Z brands, beauty brands a lot, where there's a lot of virality. A lot of the brands that are successful on TikTok. If you're a brand watching this is successful on TikTok, this is a great email. I'll talk about, there's another angle that's similar to this, but around like what's trending this month. But yeah, like, especially if you're deploying a lot of products and you have a lot of brand loyalty, this works too. This is sort of like a bestseller meets social proof email. So really good here. Brand B-Day, any brand could send this. This is one Magic Spoon sent out. So when it's the anniversary of your launch, when you founded your brand, you could send an email out. I saw Breeze, another popular CBD drink brand, do this. Their brand B-Day is 420, so it's pretty easy to remember. But yeah, this is another one that you can do. Works in any niche. Bundle and save. This can work in all sorts of types of niches. This one has, I've seen this have more impact on revenue because it is a variation of a promotional email, in my opinion, maybe even a product launch. But you can put in these coupon codes like save more if you bundle. This is an example of a food and beverage company sending it, but I've seen it all. I mean, I've seen people do it in apparel. I've seen people do it in footwear. It's not just like beauty, food and beverage, health, or supplements, stuff like that. Replenishables where you can do this bundle and save stuff. Challenge. This is a great way if you have a big community, like a 3-week skincare challenge. It works really well. Skincare, health, food and beverage, fitness, stuff like that. Creating a challenge with your customer base, it gets them more engaged. Highly recommend this. If you're looking for other ways to build up engagement without just sending out promotions. Charity, advocacy, any brand can send this. This is an example of Specialized, a bike company, building, promoting, standing together for the wildfires that swept through LA earlier this year. You'll see, we'll see some of our clients pepper these in a couple times a year. Cheat sheet, more of a B2B play, but it could work in anything where it's a little bit higher average order value. There's a little bit more questions. You could even use this in beauty as well. It doesn't have to be just B2B, but this works really, really good. Just little tips and guides. Check-in. This one will work for anything. It can be used pre-purchase, post-purchase. You can send it to anybody, anytime in the customer journey, campaigns, flows, just checking in with people, seeing where they're at. Collab, this one can be really impactful on revenue. You're seeing a lot of brands, the bigger brands lean into this. Not only are they collabing with celebrities like Hero collabing with Alex Earl in this case, but it could also be like, Hero collaborating with Liquid Death. I think they might have done that, or Elf recently, some beauty brand recently did a collaboration with another brand. also called like a JV or a joint venture in like info marketing terms. But yeah, it's a great way to cross promote your brand with another brand. So basically what's happening here is Alex Earl is promoting Hero to her followers, and then Hero is promoting Alex Earl to their followers. So it's sort of like a win-win. And, especially if you get like a celebrity with a lot of authority and has a very, like that base, or it could be a brand too, has, a lot of affinity and trust. You could see wild spikes in sales from this. Collection focus. This really works well in apparel and footwear. I've seen it work really good too, but you'll see it in beauty sometimes too, and health. I mean, you can see it in every niche. Any store that has like a large catalog of products, these collection-based emails hit very well. Collection launch is one that you'll see a lot in fashion. Color spotlight, this works well with fashion too. Just because, when you have different SKUs, you can have a SKU around the style, and then you also have a SKU around the color. So a lot of people do the style focused ones, but they forget sometimes you can do color spotlights, especially if there's certain colors that are trending in a certain time of year, like it's fall. Like you'll see a lot of luxury brands will do this, because luxury apparel brands, they're not going to discount. They're not going to do a lot of promotional stuff. They're not going to do, sometimes they won't even do joint ventures because they have their brand in such high esteem. So what they'll want to do instead is find other ways to promote the product. So color spotlight is a great one. Content, just sharing content, more middle of funnel, top of funnel content even. Huckberry is one of the best at this. The brand that sells, you wouldn't when you look at this above the fold, you would have no idea that this is a men's sort of apparel, sells men's clothing, men's products. You might be able to say, okay, this is slightly masculine, but it's not till you really scroll down to middle of funnel till you get anything around gear. So they're really, really good at this, where they'll have top of funnel content and then bottom of funnel content. They'll move from top of funnel to middle of funnel. Sometimes you don't even have to go bottom of funnel. You can just be purely top of funnel. So this is great if you want to keep your fan base engaged and not just hit them with like buy. And what's funny about Huckberry is I know a couple men have told me that I buy everything from Huckberry. I've heard that a couple times. It's just because, they have a lot of trust and authority, and they're really trying to connect with their audience. And so if you can really get good content that connects, it really hits. Contest is great too. This is one from Graza, a very popular olive oil startup. Another brand that I see do this very well is Feastables, Mr. Beast. He's taken that whole contest virality tactic he uses in his YouTube videos and translated it over to this chocolate brand and in the email marketing. So I would check out his emails too to get some inspiration there. But these are always great to get people a little bit more invested in the brand, and other than just buying product. Cross promoting. It's harder to find this stuff, but this is like really good if you have multiple brands, or if you're like a portfolio company watching this, like a large consumer packaged goods company. Huda Beauty, for example, she owns multiple brands. She has her main brand, then she has a fragrance line. So she'll cross promote each brand across the different lists. So it's a great way to sort of, it's another way. It's sort of a internal joint venture, if you want to call it that, or an internal collaboration. That's really good. Customer Spotlight, I really like this. This works really, really well. It can work in any niche, but I find it works well, similar to the niches that do well in the before and after, where you can show like real customers' results. So and again, it's sort of a variation of a social proof email, even an FAQ email. So if you have a lot of user generated content, a lot of videos, don't be afraid to turn that into a campaign or put that in your flows. Customize. This is not going to work in every niche. You actually have to have a business that allows you to customize stuff. I see it a lot in sports, outdoors, like this watch company. Stanley is another. It's like the mug brand where you can put like your initials on the cup. I think Yeti, the cooler company, you can customize it. So if you have that functionality in your business, don't be afraid to highlight that in your campaigns, send out campaigns, add that into your flows. Do's and don'ts. This is sort of a similar to a how-to email or a FAQ. Kind of do this, don't do that. This is a good one example from Breeze, and it really has nothing to do with their product. It's just like, what do you want to do and don't do on Memorial Day? Download our app. This works better in B2B, but there are some B2C clients I've worked with that have had apps in the past. So if you have an app, you can turn that into an angle. Early access. This is a great campaign. It's a variation of a promotional campaign or part of a product launch sequence or promotional launch sequence where you give people early access. You'll see this on Black Friday. You'll see this before they launch a product. So it's a great way, especially to VIPs to get that frequently buy, or if you have products that frequently sell out, or you have a limited stock, or it's like a limited collaboration, a limited edition. These early access are great ways to build anticipation and hype around it. Event highlights. So if you're a company that does a lot of events, like Tiva, the outdoor brand, it's sort of another variation of sort of customer spotlight, or maybe community spotlight, community highlights, just showing real people using your product or you out in the community. I have sent a couple of these before. FAQ, this is an angle that we frequently send here at Flow Candy. It works in just about any niche. Really works well, though, where there are higher average order value products, where there are a lot of questions before someone buys, beauty products food and beverage products where there could be more consequences if you don't know what you're doing. I don't mean that in like a bad way, but just like, hey, like I need to think about this before I put it on my face. Maybe I have more sensitive skin. I need to think about this before I eat it. Stuff like that. The FAQs work really well. Final hours. This is a great promotional email, a variation of that with the countdown timer, also called the last chance email. We frequently send this, in promotional periods or product launch periods. Very highly impactful, and revenue will work in just about any niche. Follow us on social is, again, not the highest impact on revenue, but you can send this to just about anybody. I'll see this sometimes even in flows, like in a welcome flow, and whether it's a new customer flow or a new subscriber welcome flow, just trying to get people to join the community. FSA dollars. This is a new one I've been seeing lately. I'm not like totally up to speed on how this all works. I have never sent one myself, but essentially I believe you get a health savings account. You can qualify for that in the US, and you can use that money, especially if you're in certain food and beverage, supplemental Nutra companies like AG1, Athletic Greens. You can use those funds to purchase the product. So I've seen this a couple times now with these more elevated brands. So this is a newer one. So yeah, get the look. This works great in beauty. So works great in skincare. So I would definitely be sending these out if you're in that niche. Gift card. I always recommend these, especially like in the holiday promotional period, especially after like the 17th or 18th of December, where you're kind of past that shipping date, but you can't like ship the products before Christmas, but you can send virtual gift cards. This is really good. And And again, it lets people choose what they want instead of you having to choose. It's kind of like giving people an Amazon gift card. So I recommend sending these out as well, certainly in the holidays. Gift guide too works really well, and you'll see a lot of brands send this out. And you could do this for all types of holidays. Like this one's just for Valentine's Day. You could do one for various different types of holidays. Hacks, another sort of similar to get the look, works great in beauty, but could also work in like a lot of other niches too, like apparel, food and beverage. I've seen, hacking together a wardrobe. So that's a good one. How to, very similar to FAQ, like how to do this, how to do that. It's a variation of it. I recommend sending this to basically, you could send this to all sorts of prospects that are on the fence, but you could send it as post-purchase to customers that just bought a product. In case you missed it, ICYMI. You could do all sorts of, in case you missed it, emails, in case you missed this new product launch, in case you missed this news. I'll see some brands do in case you missed it campaign every week. I've seen that before, that type of angle. So that's very popular. Ingredient spotlight works very well in beauty, works very well in supplements. Like AG1 will send a lot of stuff like this, especially if you're a brand, like a supplement brand that's very open and transparent about your ingredients, or the lack of ingredients sometimes, like it's a cleaner formula. I would recommend sending this. Limited edition, this is another great sort of variation of a collab product launch. This can have high impact on revenue depending upon how much demand there is for that limited edition, and you can build a whole promotion around it. So I recommend these a lot. Low stock, this is great too, especially if you're in a product launch or a promotional period around a product launch, or even a promotional period like Black Friday. I would recommend, my recommendation, what I tell our clients is the stock actually has to be low. Don't use like fake scarcity, but this will work, and it's just a variation of a scarcity type email. Loyalty, one of the best loyalty programs I've seen is Elf Cosmetics. Normally recommend sending it to customers, but you could use it. I think Elf uses it top of funnel too. Like pre-purchase, recommending people join their loyalty program, joining the beauty squad. And there's there's probably 20 different types of loyalty emails you could send, but this is just an example of a campaign. Meet our ambassadors. This is a funny one because it's a dog, but this works really well in sports, or beauty to health and fitness. Like if you have an ambassador program, like AG1, for example, Tim Ferriss is an ambassador. I think Andrew Huberman, maybe Joe Rogan. So if you have like big influencers, ambassadors, you could do this. You'll even see, like if you walk into a Lululemon, you'll even see their ambassadors on the wall. So like you see this a lot. I've seen this a lot more in like the fitness space, but you could deploy it in a couple different niches. Meet the Formula too is another example of sort of like ingredient spotlight, where it's like you're talking about the whole formula. Again, works really well. Skincare, Nutra, food and bev. Mystery, I see this a lot. I haven't had like a lot of success with it, but if you have like a really large list with a they're very engaged, I've seen it work pretty well. New color drop. This is sort of a variation of a color spotlight, but it's like instead of like a new product spotlight, it's like a new SKU. It's like a new color. So it's a new variation drop, maybe. This can be successful. Seen it really work well in footwear, apparel. New habits, this works very well. Skincare, Nutra. Send it to just about anybody. New this month. Similar to bestsellers this month, but it's like new this month. Hey, here's new arrivals. Works better with brands that that are launching a lot of products, apparel brands too that are just coming out with new collections. This works well. News share, Breeze does this really well. They just take any time they get press, they turn it into a newsletter. Maybe not every time, but they do that a lot, especially big ones like Forbes. If you're getting a lot of press, I would consider doing that. Problem solution, this works really well too in beauty, food and beverage. Like, what is the problem? Here's the solution. It could be more top of funnel stuff, like it doesn't have to be product based, or it could move down to bottom of funnel, middle of funnel, where they're literally showing products here. Product one versus product two. I like this one. If you have like, I've seen it work really well for like backpack companies or more technical things where it's like you're interested in two different products, but you can't decide which one you want. Do I need the one with more features that's bigger? Do I need the one with less features that's smaller? Stuff like that. This works well in campaigns. I've seen it work well in like browse abandonment, checkout abandonment flows too, pre-purchase flows. So you can do it a lot. Product focused. This is a very popular email, just centering an entire email around one product. Here's an example of one. They cover like they meet the product, they show you how to use it, social proof. Then, you can even cross sell at the bottom here like they're doing. But yeah, this is a very, very popular email angle. Product launch is another very popular email angle around launching a product. Every time you launch a product, you need to send out a campaign, in my opinion. I even have worked with clients when they launch a product, they have a series of like 10 different campaigns they send out. There's like an early access. There's like a launch day. Sometimes they'll send 2 or 3 on launch day with a special offer. Then they'll do like an FAQ on the new product and a social proof around the product. Maybe like a retailer focused one, like where you can buy it in retail if there's a retail partner involved. Then they'll do like more scarcity stuff, like it's low in stock or the promotional period ends. So, there's a whole process around launching products that some of the best email marketers I've seen do. But at the very least, just sending out one when you launch a product, I would do that too. Promotional, by far the most popular campaign angle I see. Anytime it's like get free shipping, get % off, buy one, get one free, any sort of like special deal to get you to purchase, I consider promotional. I could do I could give away a resource on 80 different types of promotional emails probably. So this is a very, very good example. Quiz. We'll do these occasionally if a brand has a quiz. Like we'll send a campaign out to people that haven't taken the quiz, prospects that haven't taken the quiz. Recommend this. Refurbished by used. So this works well in sports or products with higher average order values where there's returns too. It's like Peloton. This one works really well. You can get a good deal. A retail partner. I recommend this if you have retail partners, like if you're in Target, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Nordstrom's, whatever, Macy's. I'm not like an expert at it, but I've been exposed to it somewhat. Like part of it is you're driving sales. You can show this to the buyers at these companies. If you're watching this, how these stores, they basically are how these brands work with these big, large stores, retail distribution stores, is they will have to work with the buyer who buys a set amount of units. And the ones that I've seen that are really successful, they're like really trying to build that relationship and drive traffic to the retail store to keep that shelf space or build more shelf space. So if you're sort of really trying to get shelf space and have it, want to hold on to it, doing these retail partner emails. I've even seen people do like special offers with the retail partners. So this is good stuff. Routine works really good in beauty, works really good in health and fitness. Just trying to build that routine, build those habits. One of the number one reasons why people cancel subscriptions for these sort of Nutra products, beauty products is because they're not using the product. There's just a lack of consumption. So that's why these routine emails, these habit building emails, that's why you'll see some of these brands send this out. Proven by science, I like this, especially if you have, it's sort of a variation of the ingredients. If you have like some scientific data that can back up your products. Sneak peek, sort of a variation of early access, kind of teasing the product. It's sort of building curiosity. I like this. Shop your size works best in apparel, shoes, footwear. But this is one that you can send out. And again, you can deploy this to anybody across the life cycle. It doesn't have to just be prospects and it could be to anybody. It doesn't have to be just for prospects. Sign up for SMS. We'll do this a lot sometimes. We'll just send out, an email to people who haven't subscribed to SMS. It's a lot easier to do this when SMS and email marketing platforms are consolidated. A little bit harder when you're like, oh, we do SMS on Attentive and then we do email on Klaviyo, but it's doable. Skip the promo period. You'll see a lot of the bigger brands do this, where if there's a Father's Day promotion coming up or there is Black Friday promotion coming up, you can opt out. Social proof. Again, this is one of the most common ones we see, similar to like FAQ, just showing reviews. Sold out. This is one I don't send a lot, but, it's an announcement that it's sold out, sort of building scarcity, especially if you just launched a product and a lot of people were interested in. Subscribe and save. This is one of my favorites if you're a subscription brand, just to highlight why you might want to join, get on a subscription. You can send this across the funnel. One of my favorite places to send it is to people that have bought like one time and haven't subscribed. So really trying to educate them on why they might be on a subscription. I'll send multiple emails here. It's not just like one email. Like you might send a couple of different subscribe and save emails. Survey. I do these a lot too. Just trying to survey. And again, you can do this across the life cycle. Survey prospects why they didn't order. Survey customers why they didn't reorder. Survey customers why they are reordering. There's all sorts of types of ways you can do it. Here's one from Grüns, a very sort of popular, a new popular supplement. Or I don't know what you call it, food. They're like green gummies. Team Spotlight, I like this too a lot sometimes. Just highlights the team, shows what they're into, sort of a variation of a customer spotlight. Terms and conditions, I've never had to send this, but, a lot of the bigger brands, publicly traded brands, larger mid-market brands, like every time you update your terms and conditions, I think you're legally required to send an email out notifying your customers. So you'll see it sometimes. Text-based, this is one of my favorite emails to send. I love this type of email. Why? Because a lot of times you can do every single one of these angles that I'm showing you can make it into a text-based email. 2, they typically land in the inbox a little bit better because there's not a lot of it's not a large graphic. And so the file size is smaller, and sometimes that hits the inbox or certainly avoids the spam more than other emails. And then 2, I think sort of one of the main reasons why I like this and why a lot of people don't talk about it enough is because it's easy to deploy. You don't need like a designer. You don't need an agency necessarily to deploy this. A lot of times you can just duplicate like someone on your team that doesn't have much design or coding skills can do this. They can just duplicate a previous campaign. Like I said, if you can build like a PowerPoint presentation, you can build a text-based email. You just duplicate it, add in the text, send it out. And it's just and a lot of times the results are exactly the same as sending, sometimes even better than sending just promotional type emails like more graphic based emails. Timeline, another great one that you can do, just highlighting end of the year or even just timeline of your brand. You can do this pre-purchase sort of welcome flow. Trend report. works best in fashion, stuff that's very trendy. Trending now, I think Elf does this the best, like, because literally they have products trending every week on TikTok. So they just show you what's trending on TikTok this week. So works well with the larger brands, but if you do have a lot of products that trend, I would recommend this. Try before you buy. This is great for products that have higher average order value. First of all, you have to be able to do this. Not everyone wants to do this at a higher average order value, but if you have products that have an higher average order value, I'm talking like $500, $1,000. These are not impulse buys. These are something where people have to think about it before they purchase it, normally. And so try before you buy is a great way to get prospects to become customers. So we will send these a lot to it. Like we have one client right now that does have an average order value of $1,500. And so we will send, and has a try before you buy program or like pay as you go, layaway, Affirm, buy now, pay later. You could put that type, you could make that an angle too. I would put those types of emails in this angle as well. So highly recommend this if you're watching this and you're like, we sell furniture or something, or like we're in sports and outdoors and have expensive products. Try for free works well too. I've seen this work really well in beauty. I've also seen it not work very well in beauty. And what I mean by that is I've seen it get a lot of traction and then people either return the product or they just claim the free offer and all they did was pay for shipping. So the brand, they basically broke even on it, but they never got those people to come back and reorder. It really makes sense if you can get them to reorder. But you definitely want to do this and make sure, from my experience, that you're at least going to break even, if maybe slightly profit on the shipping by doing this offer. Because my experience has been that a lot of times people don't come back and reorder. They're just trying to get it for free. Warm up. This is great for prospects it's great for customers. No, excuse me. It's great for prospects who are cold. Prospects and customers who are cold. Like they haven't opened an email in a while. So we'll send these out a lot. Sometimes we'll send text-based emails too. Because those have a higher chance of hitting the inbox. Win back, you'll see this a lot. There's a win back flow. You can deploy it in campaigns. A lot of times what we'll do is when we're first starting with a client sometimes and they're like, hey, we really need to get revenue. Like sometimes we'll get clients like that. So we'll just go find, okay, who can we go win back? And let's go send some win back campaigns to them. And then once we get some data on which campaigns win, let's turn those into a win-back flow, or let's use that to optimize their current win-back flow. So this works really well, like a win-back promotional period. Segmentation here would be like they haven't placed an order in a year, stuff like that. X steps, like step 1, step 2, like 5 steps to get this, or 10 steps to do that. This works well. It's sort of a content variation email, but it can also be moved more bottom of funnel. So I like this one a lot. Buy on TikTok and buy on Amazon. These are new ones we've been deploying for clients. One, because of TikTok Shop. 2, there's now also this like buy on Amazon where you can put an Amazon Prime button on your Shopify store. So you can have people go on Amazon and buy, but you retain the email address, which is really, really crucial. So we've been doing these. And I really like the buy on Amazon because some people like your product, but they just want to buy it on Amazon because they can get it in 24 hours with Prime. So yeah, we've been deploying these occasionally. The upsell, this works really well post-purchase, or for customers who haven't purchased in a while. We'll send these a lot. You're basically trying to upsell people. I'm using this in B2B as a B2B example where you might download the free app, and then you're trying to upsell them into Plus. Difference between an upsell and a cross-sell, if you don't know. An upsell is like you're trying to upsell them on the same product or a higher SKU of that product or variation. A cross-sell would be like, okay, you bought the moisturizer, I'm going to sell you the face wash. So there's a difference. This one is purely trying to upsell. Horoscope. This one I saw this one from Stanley. Again, this works well if you can do the customization thing too. Like you can customize it for every horoscope. Works great if your target market is into that sort of stuff. Event register. So I already talked about the event highlight. The event register would be like, hey, register for a new event we're having. This is great if you have in-person events. Like I said, this works great for Tracksmith because they have literally events where you can go run. Athletic Brewing does something similar. I see a lot of them do these events. They have a whole portal on events. Yeti does too. So I've seen it more in sports and outdoors. But yeah, if you have any sort of in-person events, I would recommend this. Last one is your birthday. You see this frequently deployed in flows where brands will collect your birthday so they can send you a birthday email. You can see it's dynamic here. They put in the name. But yeah, this is another one too. You can do it in flows or campaigns. All right, that's it. 80 different email angles I just went through. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll have more coming soon. And if you have any questions about this on how to deploy it, you can just click on this link and you can just ask me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to connect with you. Thanks again for watching.